Welcome to Canucks After Dark. Here are your hosts, Parker Hallowell and Clay Emo.
Good evening, Vancouver, and welcome to episode 1 of season 2 of Canucks After Dark, kicking off the 2021-22 NHL campaign with a fun episode tonight, as always, joined by my co-host, Canuck Clay. How are you doing this week?
I am great, Parker. I'm just looking at how spiffy you look, how spiffy I look, as always. And I'm thinking, like, are we going out for dinner later? Are we hitting the club, the casino? What are we doing?
Absolutely. You know, this is it's an early night. It's Monday. You know, you got to start the week off right.
Yes, this is early for you, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely. We've got a fun show for you tonight to kick off this week. We last did an episode on Wednesday, so just 5 days ago, and we expected to not have a ton to talk about tonight. So we decided to make this our official season predictions episode to start off this season. And it's not just for us to make our predictions and make our wager against each other. We will also be having you guys joining in on the predictions as well. It's already linked in the description if you want to go in and submit your predictions as we go along. And it'll be a fun time. Winner will get something at the end of the season. We haven't decided on it. Maybe like a team store gift card or something like that. We'll figure it out as we go. But we are going to have a lot of fun with that. We're going to go over a couple of topics earlier on and then get to that later in the show. Clay, anything you want to start off with? Anything interesting going on this week?
Well, actually, if we're looking for Canucks news and actual Canucks players on the ice formally, I think we can start with the rookie camp starting this Friday. I'm not sure if you saw the rosters, Parker. It's like Podkolzin and a bunch of little boys. No, I shouldn't say that. Like,
I think they had Tristan Nielsen listed as 6'10" on the scouting report by accident. So I don't know if little is the correct
6'10", 190, right? That would be something to see.
That is a thin man.
So yes, I guess that's either 6'1" or 5'10", right? It's got to be one of them.
I think 5'10" is what they meant.
5'10".
Yes.
Big difference.
Yes.
Yeah. So not even a full camp. It's only one day, as you have on the banner. It's on Friday, not starts Friday. It's on Friday. And I believe I saw one goalie, Seelovs. I saw 3 D-men and maybe 7 or 8 forwards. So they're certainly not going to scrimmage with only one goalie. Yeah. 8 forwards. So 12 players at this camp.
Yeah, and a couple of names to watch, right? And if you start in the back end, guys like Artur Seelovs, who, a late draft pick in 2019, but has sort of shown that he might have some maybe backup upside at some point in his future. You have guys like Jet Wu on defense, who was a fun name back in 2018 and played in Calgary, I believe. And then a few names up front as well. Guys like Danila Klimovich, who will definitely be a name to watch, especially with his NHL aspirations this season, although it looks more likely that he'll go to the Q. And guys, of course, like Vasily Podkolzin, 10th overall in 2019, who's going to be the marquee name in this Friday session.
Yeah, a couple of things that stood out to me too, Parker. I didn't know Seelovs was 6'4". Did you? Like, that surprised me.
I think that's just general goalies nowadays. I think that's, I don't think they're drafting anyone other than, of course, Mikey DiPietro. That is, shorter than like 6'3".
That's true. And remind me of the curious case of Ethan Keppen, because we drafted him, right? But they're showing him as AHL contract as opposed to we drafted him. Is that because he's old?
Yeah. So if I remember correctly, they did not re-sign him, or they didn't sign him to a qualifying offer after his entry rights were up. They didn't qualify him, so he was technically a free agent, and then they brought him back just on an AHL contract. So he'll at least get to play in the system this year, but in theory, I think he could be signed by an NHL team if they so desired.
That makes a lot more sense. Thank you, because I'm just looking to see when he was drafted. Drafted way back in 2019. Yeah, but you're right. I remember there's the story that they did not sign him. Okay,
yes,
that makes sense. So do you expect, like, one day, and this is basically a week before, 6 days before the main camp, where probably Podkolzin's the only one that's going to advance, unless, are they going to bring guys like Klimovich and others?
I think Klimovich will be at camp, I think is what they had said. I'm sure a couple of these guys will be as well, because I don't think they're going to have much else to do. And I mean, of course, they do like to have extra bodies at camp, right?
That's true.
So they can run scrimmages and things like this. So I'd expect most people here to to be there, especially with the AHL team in Abbotsford now, right? I mean, the training
Good
camp's
point.
going to be in Abbotsford, so it's not like there's going to be any extra travel, right? You're not having to ship guys back and forth between Utica and here if they want to get started on their AHL camp. So I wouldn't be surprised to see almost everyone on this list at least make an appearance in camp, if not just as an extra body.
Actually, you make a great point, Parker. It's not so much there's only going to be 1 or 2 guys and the other 8 or 9 don't come. It's probably the other way around. Probably 8 or 9 or 10 of these guys will come. Maybe 1 or 2 will drop off. Yeah, you're right. That's a good point because, they want to make a good impression and battle for a spot in Abbotsford.
So over under 1.5 on who plays an NHL game on this roster this year.
This season, 1.5. I got to go with under. I think it's just Podkolzin.
You don't think Klimovich gets a game? You don't think someone else gets moved up? Maybe like Carson Falk as a 4th liner for one game if there's a bunch of injuries.
This doesn't count in our. This is like our warm up, right?
Kinda.
Okay. Yeah, I'll stick with my under.
Yeah, I think that's the safe choice. I think a lot of things would have to go really wrong or really right. Like if Jet Wu somehow came out and was amazing, although he's got a lot of bodies in front of him. And it's kind of the case with all of these guys, right? If we're just looking at this here, the Canucks went and signed out a lot of depth, right? A lot of 4th line, 3rd pair, 4th pair caliber guys that can fill in at a moment's notice. The guys like Brad Hunt, Luke Shen, people of that nature, where, these guys aren't really going to get a shot this year. But, guys to watch down the line, even though most of their NHL upside might be quite limited.
Yeah. And I think, I think for anyone, you make a good point about Abbotsford being in our backyard now as opposed to Utica, because I think there's just going to be naturally an uptick in interest in a lot of our prospects. I was just looking at this list. I think it's a lot smaller too, because I saw Jeff Patterson and others tweet about, I guess some guys are already with their NCAA teams, right? And others overseas. So a lot smaller. Remember, gone are the days of the Young Stars Classic and things where we would see, or a summer showcase or whatever, where we'd see actual scrimmages between and drills with more than 11 guys on the ice.
Yeah, hopefully we can get back to some things like that. Those are always fun tournaments, even if they didn't mean anything. Especially when the Canucks did have a few good rookies in the pipeline, and we saw some really fun matchups and maybe just some glimpses of the future.
I do.
Division rivals.
I do remember a summer showcase I saw at Rogers Arena where I saw Quinn Hughes skate for the first time, man, and it was crazy. I just grabbed my phone, took 20 seconds of video and posted it, and it went pretty big, not because of me, but because people were so excited about how Hughes just whooped whoever he was skating against. Like, it was great. Even back then you saw it. So pretty exciting.
Yeah. Especially against, the rookies, a bunch of rookies that probably aren't going to make the NHL. That would be great to watch, and it is a chance, right? I mean, we're probably going to get a bit of footage from this rookie camp. We're not going to get, maybe like a short little 3-on-3 scrimmage or something, but it will be a good look, right? We haven't really seen Podkolzin against people that are way worse than him lately, right? We've just seen him in the KHL where he's, been sort of a 4th liner. But putting him out there, if you put him out there against a Carl Plasek and a Victor Persson, this is our first glimpse to hopefully see him be a standout in this camp at the very least. Yes,
completely off topic, but every time I hear the name Carl Plasek, do you ever see the movie The Naked Gun with Leslie Nielsen? Oh, okay. No. Okay, well, I won't bore you with the details. Anyone who's seen Naked Gun, though, you know where I'm going with this. Basically the opera singer who was supposed to sing, but Leslie Nielsen turns out to sing for him. His name was, I think it's something Palacio, Victor Palacio or something like that. Enrico Palacio. So every time, it's not even close, but every time I hear Carl Plasek, I think of Enrico Palacio and The Naked Gun. Okay, that was completely useless. Sorry for the time you're not going to get back.
No worries. All right. Do we want anything else on the rookie camp you want to touch on?
No, but no, rookie camp are good. I want to give a shout out. We appreciate everyone that's in here already. The audience is growing tonight. But one person who hasn't commented before, can you put that up? The Botch guy says, I'm a lurker for a while now. I listen back to these podcasts every single week. Good. It's a word I don't say, but good stuff, guys. And Botch guy, you might not know this, Parker, but this guy has a massive YouTube channel because he talks about wrestling and mistakes in wrestling, which are called botches, and that's his name. So,
interesting.
Botch guy, I watch your stuff too, and I try not to spoil, my viewing experience before I watch on TV. But yes, glad to see Botch guy here along with everyone that's here. So thank you.
all you people who do leave comments and those of you who do lurk, we do really appreciate having you guys here. I don't blame the lurkers. Sometimes you just want to be low key.
Exactly.
All right. Do we want to go to our marquee topic, the big signing in the Pacific Division?
Yeah, you lead this with this one.
The Calgary Flames making insane moves, trying to compete for a Stanley Cup and picking up Eric Goodbranson, the
Wow.
best defenseman in Canucks history. Goody, one of the most handsome men in Canucks history, at least we can say. But he is joining the Calgary Flames, and it's not like a vet minimum deal. I think it's almost $2 million for the 1 year or something like that. It's like 1.9. But he is going to be back in the division. We get to see guys like Elias Pettersson face off one-on-one against Eric Goodbranson, which is always a fun time.
Yes. If I heard there's a rumor that maybe this might be part of a bigger deal or whatever, because it seems like a bit of an odd signing. But if he sticks with the team and is playing on that third pairing right side, yeah, I'd love to see whoever our left wing or our center is going up. I'd love to see JT Miller go around Eric Goodbranson and then swear at him as he does so.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting pickup. And I think they also picked up Michael Stone at the same time.
Yes.
But it's I mean, I don't know where he even really fits. You know, is he a depth guy? I mean, you don't really want to spend $2 million on a seventh D man, but you know, they do have I'm just sort of looking at Daily Faceoff right now, and I know like they have the best defense core in the league, but they're sort of adding mediocrity to it. They got already guys, you know, Goodbranson plays on the right side, right?
Yes.
So he's got Chris Tanev, Rasmus Anderson, and Oliver Shillington ahead of him on the right side. Shillington may be a little iffy there, but
right,
you know, still not guaranteed that he'll have that spot coming out of camp.
Yeah. Do you think he's on the Calgary Flames roster when the season starts? Because I did see, like I mentioned, some people are saying that this might be part of something else in the works, but what are you going to trade him for, I guess?
Yeah, other teams could have just picked him up, signed him for that same contract, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he will have a spot, if not as a seventh D, but you know, maybe they do want a bit more of a veteran presence out there, which I mean, it's all good for us if they decide to put worse players on the ice.
So you said 2 years at 1.9 or 1 year at 1.9?
Just 1 year at just under 2 million.
Just under 2. We're in, and then we were thinking about Pullman for 4 years at 2.5. Yeah,
I'd rather have Pullman because I think he can at least have a positive impact on the ice, and paying an extra $500K, you know, if you take the years out of it, there's more risk, but paying an extra $500K for an NHL player, that's probably worth it.
And by the way, I'm just thinking, Botch guy, I didn't give him enough proper, I guess not credit. I didn't properly explain his channel. Apparently it's less about, it's a comedy channel with some parodies on there. And he says, what's interesting, Parker and I have ever similar opinions on multiple Canucks topics. It's pretty great. So 2 smart guys in here at least, and one of them's not me.
Yeah, it's not that we're biased. We're just very intelligent, clearly, and that's why we have the same opinions. It's math. Anyways, the Goodbranson topic, of course, not the most exciting, and that we don't have a lot else to talk about. So shall we get into the big fun part of the show tonight?
I think we should.
We have devised a fun prop bet type of idea for the season, for where basically I've got a list. I don't know how many questions it is. I'm going to guess around 30. But it's a lot of questions where you go in, you make your prediction, and I'll sort of run through it right now for you guys. And I'll see if I can even, if I just do this and I do this and I do this, and then I do this and I hit that button, we can share it. So basically I put together a form where you can go in and you can enter this contest for whatever prize we decide later in the season. Basically the way it works is there's a lot of questions. I can scroll down here, things like total points for the Canucks this year, goal differential, and then things like player points, and things like that. If you get a correct answer, you get 10 points. If you get a wrong answer, you get 0, unless it's something like how many points a player will get, like Elias Pettersson's total points. You get 10 points for a right answer. You lose 1 point for every one off you are. We'll tabulate it all at the end of the season. And the winner out of all of you guys will get a prize. And you have until opening night of the season to enter. So what Clay and I are going to do is we are going to go through all of these questions throughout the next little while. You guys can leave your predictions in the chat. I recommend you click the link at the top of the description and follow along if you want to join in. If you're on mobile, you can do it afterwards, of course. And the winner will be rewarded. So I'm going to stop sharing this, or I can at least just do this.
No, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say we can get into some questions. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Clay the question. He is going to answer. We'll rotate who answers, and we'll have our predictions in. Clay, do you want to open the form on your end so you can submit your answers as we go?
Yes. So a couple caveats first, not excuses. I think this is going to make it more fun. I have not seen these questions yet. As much as Parker and I, we do plan our shows, believe it or not, and we talk throughout the week, always DMing and texting. But he intentionally and I intentionally didn't want to see these questions first. So I'm flying blind. And Parker, to his credit, and I trust him, he said after he made the spreadsheet, aside from some formatting, it's not like he's been studying his answers either. So
I put this together about a month ago, and I have not looked at it since, except today I added a couple questions, but I haven't thought about them at all. So
just before we start, as we build up the anticipation, because we never want to miss, don't do that, but we don't want to break up our predictions, because we're going to be rolling and we're going to be excited. We'll do 1 minute of don't do that, like right now. So put it right in the chat. We'll read out 2 or 3 don't do that, and then we will go uninterrupted with our prediction game for the next half an hour or so. So are there any don't do that right now? And then at the very end, if we have time, Parker, I guess we could do some Q&A, but depending on how long the predictions take, right?
Absolutely. I'm sure we'll have a few minutes at the end. I don't think this will take the full 45. And we can ask those questions.
Do you want to do that first one?
From Agam?
Yeah.
Blocking hospitals, don't do that. I agree. People need medical care.
Yes. Not subscribing to Canucks After Dark. Certainly don't do that. We would love to see that number grow, both on the podcast side, of course, and of course on the YouTube side. Thank you.
Absolutely. Agam again, signing Eric Goodbranson. Don't do that. I like that. That is a good one.
And underrate how good Rathbone is going to be this year. Don't do that. Yes, I have high hopes that he beats out Ulevi and Hunt, but we will see. There's a lot of different factors, as we've talked about before.
Yeah, Rathbone's definitely going to be exciting to watch. And there is a Rathbone question in the it's just total points, but still.
All right, 2 more. Put Pearson on the second line instead of Höglander. Don't do that.
And I don't think that'll happen. I think they're excited about Höglander just as much as we are.
Yeah. Imagine if Pearson and Höglander, they keep them together though, right? Because they just swap the center out, swap Horvat out, put Dickinson in there, and you got Garland and Podkolzin on the second line. I'd have time for that.
Definitely plausible. Do you want to pick one more?
Sure. Justin, running out of time for Pete and Hughes contracts, but showing interest in Tyler Ennis. Don't do that. Yeah. PTO maybe for Ennis, but I don't think we're worried about.
I don't think, I mean, we've seen Jim Benning sign 28 contracts in a day. So I think the running out of time excuses doesn't have much weight anymore for him.
Right. All right, man. I'm ready.
All right. Here we go. I'm going to do them at the same time. I'm going to fill out my form. You can either fill out yours, or we can just use the VOD after to fill it out manually. The first question, we're going to start out with a handful of overall team-related questions. I want to know how you think the season is going to go. Actually, don't pull up the form, because I want to ask you them with you seeing them for the first time.
Okay.
And then I'll fill it out after. You can fill it out after with a VOD.
Sure.
The first question is a very simple one. How many points will the Vancouver Canucks get in the standings this season?
I predicted you would ask me this, and I even wrote down 44, 31, and 7. So I'm going with a 95-point season.
95. Wow. Pessimism from Mr. Positive, Canuck Clay. I'm going to go a little on the higher side, just because it'll make me root for wins.
Yes.
I'm going to go with 98 will be my choice, but I would love 100 or
me
more.
Too. Yeah. All
second,
right. Oh, wow. 101. I love seeing this. I love seeing what people are talking about in the chat.
Yeah. Coach Rob going a little optimistic with the 101. We got Agam saying 95 as well.
Agam's very smart.
Yeah. I knew you'd say that. Shannon, very optimistic with the 105.
Doable.
I love it. I love it. 50 wins or so. Victor says 100. Fangirl going a little on the low side with a 90, and Time for Hockey with an 89. Let's move on to the next question.
Okay.
You said the Canucks will have 95 points. Will the Canucks make the playoffs?
Oh, absolutely. That's a yes.
All right. I will say yes as well.
Yes.
Next one's a little more fun. The Vancouver Canucks play against the Seattle Kraken 4 times this season. How many of those games will the Vancouver Canucks win? I will start, and I will go with a nice 3 out of 4.
It doesn't make for good radio, but I'm going to have to agree with you. They're not going to sweep, but there's no way they're going to go 500 or less. I'm with you.
All right. 3 out of 4 for both of us.
Yep.
Now a little bit more of House of Negativity questions. Is Travis Green still a Vancouver Canuck on May 1st, 2022?
So the question isn't, is he get fired? It's
the question is, will he get fired? But we can switch it.
Oh, I see. So the question is
he fired before May 1st, and the season ends? I think their last game's April 29th. So it gives them a 1-day buffer.
No, Travis Green will not get fired. Yes, he will still be here.
I agree. Same question, Jim Benning.
No, they're going to win. So no, Jim Benning will not get fired. Yes, he will still be here.
I have to agree here. And it's really, this question, again, sort of hinges on your first 2 answers, right? If you think the Canucks are going to put up 88 points this season, then you're probably answering yes for at least one of those. So we're both thinking that the management and coaching staff will likely stay intact.
I'll let you go first the next few. I get so excited. I jump in there.
No, this is fun. The next question, this one might require a little bit of math.
Oh, great.
I want you to tell me what the Vancouver Canucks goal differential will be this season. So goals for minus goals against.
Okay. Everyone can put their answer in the chat. Remember, there's 82 games. If you put 82, that means you're saying the Canucks win by an average of 1 every game. I'm going to go with 2.
Yeah. How'd they do last year? For some context, the Canucks were a minus. Oh, they were a minus. Oh, I have to do math. Minus 39 last season in 56 games.
That's not good.
No.
That is not good.
I'm going to go with 7. Just 7. I think they're going to be pretty close to 500. And I think they might have some bad games where they lose a little more than they win.
That's true.
Like by bigger margins. And I think they're going to squeak out some OT wins. And I'm going to go with 7. Just 7.
Okay, I like that. That's a gutsy pick considering you have them at 99 points. Would presume 98. Like a record, like a 98, like a 45.
This might not be a good pick. I'm kind of hedging my bets a little bit here.
True. Okay, I'm gonna go a little bit more optimistic. I wrote down 254 goals based on 3.1 and 242 on 2.9 again. So I'm gonna say a nice round 10. The Canucks will have a plus goal differential of 10.
Both of us going pretty low here. We have some people are a little more optimistic. Coach Rob saying 25, Rome with plus 30.
Look at
Chris DeMarco saying 123. That would be 1.5 goals per game more than they allow. That would be impressive. Okay. Your next question. What will the Canucks' longest winning streak be? How many games?
Oh, I like this one.
I think they're going to get real hot at some point, and they're going to go on I'll say they go on a 6-game tear.
Okay, I'm going to split. I'm supposed to be the optimistic one, but that's a lot of wins.
6 is a lot.
It is. But I'll say 5.
5?
I'll say 5.
Same question on the other side. What will their longest losing streak be?
Okay, I'll answer this one first. I also say 5.
5? I went with 4 on this one.
Okay.
Okay. But again, it could go either way. I now realize that I have Canucks total points listed here twice. So I will be removing that one.
Delete this. Yeah, delete the second one.
Delete the second one. All right, that's it for the team related questions. Now we're going to get into the player ones. Most of these are going to be total points by a player, but we're going to start off with a couple of fun ones, a couple more topical, relevant ones to right now. The first one, Quinn Hughes. I want the total contract value in millions of dollars. Years times AAV. So you're betting on money per year and term at this point. So this is a hard one. And
Parker, if we were doing this, oh, this is good. This is really good.
if you get bridge or long term wrong, you're going to get 0 points
Yeah.
on these questions.
Yeah, this could be a make or breaker. If we did this last week, I would have been so confident in my answer because as we talked about it every week, I did a vlog about it. But I just have this feeling that PD is going to sign a bigger contract. I won't give my number yet. That's going to force Quinn to take a short term and not a long term. So wait.
I'm doing whatever you're not. That's my decision.
Okay, then. Oh, man. I'm going to go. Oh, this is crazy. All right, I'm going 64. Nice and even.
You're going 64.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 60. I am going to go with long term as well. I'm going to say 7.5.
Yeah.
Instead of the 8 at 8 years, though. But if it's like a 6-year deal, neither of us are going to get any points on this one.
And 3-year, we're in trouble. So actually, I love these questions, Parker. These are well thought out because they can actually lead to 1 or 2 minutes of discussion as well. That means your Hughes people then would be signing for $1 million less a year than Heiskanen. You think that could happen?
I think it could. It's also kind of a hedge between 7 and 8 years.
True.
So I'm kind of covering my bases a little bit because I think 64 would be the high end. Yeah. So I'm trying to get some points here, which might not be great for me in the long run. Might be overthinking it.
But 8.5 times 7 also works for you, right? Or close?
Yeah.
Like, 7 years at
that'd be right.
Okay.
Something like that. It'd be like 8.6 or something. 8.
Great question. I like that one.
Same question. Elias Pettersson.
Well, you go first on this one then.
All right. I'm going to go short. I'm going to go 3-year is going to be my guess. Now, again, if he does go long-term or if he does that 1 year that was kind of rumored at one point, that would kill it. I'm going to go 3 at, I guess, we're probably around, I'm going to go a little on the high end ish. I'm going to go 25.
Oh, so how do we judge or score these ones where it's millions of dollars?
So we're rounding to the nearest million.
Okay.
And then it's so if it was 24.5, it would go up to 25. And then again, it's 10 points if you're right, and then minus 1 for each million you're off.
Okay. So I only shade you by a point here. I can only lose. So I'll go 24 million.
24? All right.
I like even numbers. 3 times 8, 8 times 8.
Yeah. I was thinking 8 and a little.
Okay.
8.25, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. That's sort of that's kind of the fun ones for a while. Most of the rest are just going to be easy stat tracking throughout the season. It's going to be mainly just total points predictions. At first I had put some like total goals for some players.
Yeah.
Things like that. But I figured it's just going to be easier if we do points, easier to keep track of. And we're going to start from the top down. We're going to start with Elias Pettersson. How many points does Elias Pettersson get this year? Now you have to keep in mind, we're hoping he's going to play 82 games, but some of these players won't. Some players will regress, some players will excel. Where do you think Elias Pettersson is going to land? We've got some early predictions with 87 from Coach Rob, 100 from Chris, who has been very optimistic so far.
All right, I'll go first on this one, and then we'll alternate, so you can not make fun of me. Actually, Noah said exactly what I was going to say. I say 80. I think he's going to be a point per game player, but I don't think he's going to play every single game. So I'm going with 80.
I think that's a really safe bet. I'm seeing him maybe a little above a point per game, but again, playing every game is, not very likely for most players.
Sure.
I'll go a little higher. I'm going to go 83.
Okay. I like it.
Brock Besser. I'll start this one. I'm thinking something like 35 goals for Brock Besser. I'm thinking pretty highly of him, especially since we saw that wrist looking pretty good last year. And you're still playing with Elias Pettersson and JT Miller, and it's one of those scenarios now where we saw the lines get shaken up a little bit, and we had him playing with guys like Tanner Pearson last year. Where now, if the lines get shaken up, he might have a little bit higher end skill with like a Horvat Höglander instead of Pearson. So I'm gonna think something like 72 points is where
Oh
I'm going to
my!
land on
Just
Besser.
so people don't know that I'm cheating. Or you can't. What am I doing? You can't even see this.
You also went
Listen,
72?
Unless I turn out all my lights. Whatever. I wrote down 71. I wrote down
71. You're
Yeah,
agreeing with
yeah.
Noah on this one.
Well, again, Noah. And by the way, speaking of YouTubers with significant followings, Gio Lego Rocks has entered the room. He's entered the chat. Yeah. So Gio,
I
thanks
see
for
that.
being here. Thanks to everyone for being here. Gio, thanks for being here. And he dropped, the 79 for PD. So very close to both of our guests.
Absolutely.
As
All right, let's go to the second line center right now. We're going to go to Bo Horvat. How many points will Horvat get this year? Playing second line minutes, looks like with guys like Niels Höglander, maybe Vasily Podkolzin, maybe Connor Garland, probably Connor Garland. What are you thinking? Is he going to have a bit of a resurgence this year, getting a guy like Connor Garland on that second unit?
Horvat's career high was if my lights weren't so bright, you could actually see it. I actually some stats here. It's just a big piece of light. His career high was 61 points. I think Garland results in a 2 or 3 point bump, and you got to love how consistent. I'm not worried about jinxing him. Horvat has not missed. It's so crazy. So he's going to play close to 82 games. I'm going with 64.
64. Interesting.
For Bo. Yeah.
I don't have the math in front of me. He had 39 points in 56 games last year, so probably around that pace. I'm gonna go. That's really good for a second line center.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go a little on the lower side, and I'm gonna go 60.
Okay,
but I'd like him to get more, of course.
And look at that. Everyone's guessing in the 60s for Bo. So I think we're all in the right.
63, 65, 60, 66, 67, Bo 65. Everyone's in that 60 range, and I'm on the low end at 60. Now let's go back to the lotto line, finish that one out. JT Miller, who, with all of the swings we've had from JT Miller, the one thing that hasn't swung is point production, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we looked at JT Miller last year as sort of having a kind of down year, like at times, and having some anger come up. He still had 46 points in 53 games, guys. Right? Like he still produces no matter what. So I'm gonna go a little on the higher end. I had Pettersson at 83, Besser at 72. I think he comes in right at 68 next season.
Holy, we are very similar. I wrote down I wanted Besser. Who cares what I want? I think Besser's going to be the second highest scorer. I think Miller's going to be right there with him. So I gave Besser 71. I gave Miller 70.
70. All right. Yeah. I like it. We've got a big swing on Miller in the chat. We've got Time for Hockey going with 75. Noah with 75. Rome with 85. Then the other end, we've got Coach Rob with 50. We've got Shannon with 55. We've got a 69 from Chris. And
Chris has guessed that number like for every player. I think
he'll get it right eventually. And Victor with a 65. I like the predictions, guys. And we have about 65 people in here. So thank you guys for joining tonight, having a good time. And again, if you guys joined before or after we started this, right at the top of the description, you can fill out your predictions as well. And we'll hold a little contest. Whoever has the most points at the end of the season will win a prize. Yeah,
if you kick both of our butts, Parker's butt and my butt, then maybe you guys are the ones that should be hosting the show, not us.
Yes, so you guys can hold a mutiny and take over. Next up, a couple of newcomers, and we're going to start with the newcomer from the Arizona Coyotes on the second line, most likely, Connor Garland. Someone we're both very excited about, very high on. 82 game season. In theory, what do you have Connor Garland doing?
Do you remember, Parker? I told you, it's going to be something when I start with the story. Do you remember when I told you there's a new guy on my channel who was insistent that Garland and Horvat were going to get 70 points each on the second line? And I kind of said, as you and I have talked about, that's a lot. That's a stretch even for your whole first line to get 70 points, let alone your second line. Yeah. Having said that, I don't think Garland's going to get there, but I do think he's going to be very close to Horvat's number, even outpointing him by 1. So I got Garland at 65.
65. So if we take a look at Connor Garland last year, really good production, 39 points in 49 games. The year before that, though, 39 points in 68 games. So you have to sort of think, was this a one-off? Might he regress a little bit back to that?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I am going with 62 points for Connor Garland. And we got Lego going up here we got Gio with 51, Sharms with 59. We got a 60 from Victor, 70 from Rome on the high end. And then again, some lower people. We got a 40 and a 44 from Shannon and Coach Rob. Edmund going really low with a 30 here, which seems a little crazy. He's only been below 30 once in his 3-year career, and he only played 47 games that season. So definitely a lot of swing. And this is where you guys will make up your points, right? Everyone's going to have Pedersen, Besser, and Horvat and Miller sort of in that higher end. But as we get lower down the lineup, there's going to be a lot of fluctuation, which will be really interesting to see. Maybe what we'll do after we get some of these predictions coming in, if you guys are filling them out, I can't see how many are done yet. But as we get towards the end of the show, maybe I'll just grab all the columns and do an average and see what people are thinking. And compare those to our results.
Or maybe that'll be great filler for next week if there's still nothing to talk about.
maybe.
You know what's interesting, Parker? Our numbers are very close, which makes sense because we've gotten to know each other for the past half a year, and we have similar thoughts on the team for sure. But when you look at the 5 guys that we've talked about so far, PD, Bo, Miller, Besser, and Garland, we we both have all of them doing 60 points or more, which is very optimistic, very rare for the team, but maybe we're both expecting a huge offensive year for the team.
And I think I am. I think, if we look at what happened this last offseason, the forwards got better and the defense got a little scary. It was sort of what I've always said, right? And I think the defense and the goaltending got shored up a little bit nicely. But yeah, I think the depth that's been added to this top 6 makes a big difference, right? We're no longer talking about if a guy like JT Miller goes down, we're not putting Tanner Pearson onto that first line anymore. Now it's Connor Garland or Niels Höglander. So I think the little bit of extra depth in the top 9, if there is an injury, there's less of a drop in production. And there's just going to be hopefully more offense going around. And I think that also goes onto the power play too, right? Having more power play options, more chances to switch things up if it's not working should lead to a more productive power play, which should, again, bring everyone's numbers up a little bit.
And if the Canucks are scoring a lot and putting teams behind, then those teams are going to have to take more risks to catch up, right? And then it opens the game up, and maybe the Canucks score even more. So I get it. I get why we're both optimistic. I get why this is probably the best top 9 that Travis Green has had for sure, right? In his 5 years. So we'll see. Or maybe we'll see when we do our bottom 6, how the numbers just go.
Yeah, we could be wrong on everything too, right? The tables could turn early in the season, but hopefully not. Let's go to another newcomer. This is one that we could see a lot of fluctuation in guesses on, and that is Vasily Podkolzin. I could see some people predicting in the 20s. I could see some people predicting in the 40s or 50s. Let's hear what you guys have to say. I'm a little bit on the low end, and that's because I don't want people to get too highly, super high expectations on him. He's still a rookie coming in from Russia. He's likely going to be playing 3rd line minutes at best, if not 4th line, probably 3rd line in my opinion. I'm going to go with 32 for Podkolzin.
So this is our first bit of divergence, because I have a feeling that he is going to win the 2nd line spot out of camp. I just have a feeling. So it's not crazy. Oh, okay. Now I feel bad because everyone else. I'm going with Rome. I'm going 40 for Podkolzin. 40. It's a lot higher than Justin and Gio and Lucas and others are saying, Marcus. But yeah, I'm going with 40.
Yeah, we also have Edmund at 25. We have a 30. Like you said, a 40. Noah with 41. Coach Rob saying 58, thinking maybe he does get that 2nd line spot, maybe some power play time and run away with it. Marcus says caller finalist minimums. Yeah, this is where we're definitely going to see a lot of fluctuation here.
Yes.
Because, if he gets, like you said, if he gets 43 points, you're getting a bunch of points. I'm getting none. So that will be an interesting thing to watch for the season. And I hope I'm not rooting for him to not score.
Of course.
But it'll be one of those things where he scores, and I'm like, it's like when you watch, fantasy football, and you maybe, if you're a Seahawks fan like I am, and they're playing against a team, but that team has one of your fantasy guys on, you're kind of conflicted.
Yeah.
So
It's either win-win or it's lose-lose, right? In those situations. Yes. Speaking of fantasy football, did you watch that? Did you have the game on tonight?
I did.
Yeah. My son
wild.
Sean was up by 2 points and won by 1 point because that guy
Didn't reach in.
he
the Raiders?
didn't catch it. Adams.
Right,
he
that
dropped
one.
that. Yeah. Crazy.
Let's go on to some staples from the lineup last year. Let's go on to Tanner Pearson on a fresh new contract. What do you think Tanner Pearson will be putting up this season?
Oh,
likely on the third line with Dickinson. Maybe, well, I mean, according to your predictions, maybe Höglander on the third line. If you're thinking Golden steals that second line spot, what do you think goes on there?
I'm giving them a Henrik 33.
33 for Tanner Pearson. I'm a little lower than that. I'm going to go 28.
Okay.
But everyone else is higher than me in the chat. We got a 30, we got a 40, 30, 44, 29. But I think everyone's sort of around the 30-ish point mark. Time for Hockey saying 40.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll see how Tanner Pearson does.
It's funny. He's not on my spreadsheet. I forgot to put him on. So I just made that. That's how much he's fallen. No.
Jason Dickinson's a little lower, so we're gonna these aren't really in an order. They're kind of in the order that I initially thought of them a month ago. Next on our list is the man everyone loves, Tyler Mott. Tyler Mott. What did Tyler Mott do last year? He had just 9 points, but only played 24 games last season, so he was on about a 30-point pace or so. What do you think Tyler Mott gets done this year?
So here's the problem with Mott. Last year, he played 24 out of the 56. The year before, he played exactly half, 34 out of the 69. And then the year before that, he did play 74 of the 82. There's rumors that he's not going to start the season. Man. Yeah, 0.25, 0.3 points per game. Does he play all 82? You can tell I'm stalling. 60 games times 0.3. Okay. Give him 21 points.
21. So you're saying plays about 60 games at that current point pace.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's he hasn't been healthy, right? We haven't seen, has Tyler Mott's most games played in a season is 74 back just 2 years ago.
Yeah.
In that season, he only had 16 points. I am going I'm going a little low here. Betting on Tyler Mott to be healthy isn't a smart bet. Again, I'm not hoping for him to get injured, obviously. Yeah. I'm going 13.
Okay.
For Tyler Mott. Just because it feels kind of safe. If he does stay healthy all year, maybe he puts up 20. I'll still get a couple of points there.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go a bit on the lower end.
Okay. I think you're right.
Speaking of lower end, this man played 43 games last season and was re-signed at a nice, much more friendly contract for the team. Brandon Sutter had 120 points. 120 points. Lock it in. He said it. 12 points in 43 games last season, 9 of those being goals with that one hat trick that he had kind of early on in the season. What do you think Brandon Sutter's putting up as that 4C?
Yeah, your turn to go first.
Right, you are right. So 82 games. Let's say he plays about 65. I'm going 14 for Brandon Sutter, keeping it low. Because I think that 9 goals was an anomaly. Considering he did have that random hat trick. So you take that one game out, and we're talking 9 points in 42 games, which is a little lower.
It's crazy though. Like he had 17 and 44 the year before, and 26 and 61 the year before that.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah. So I'm happy if you want to revise. That's fine.
I locked it in.
Okay. Well, thanks for not locking in my 120. Let's go with. I think he's gonna get more than Mott. Oh no, but Mott actually knows how to score.
I go going with 10.
Yeah.
But lots of higher ones. We got some 12s. We got a 21, 15, 19. Coach Rob saying comeback player of the year, 38 points.
Wow, Lego's pretty smart.
Brandon Sutter.
I'll go with 18. 18.
You say Lego's pretty smart, then you almost double his guess.
Well, before I saw that, I was going to go 28.
Well, you still can.
18.
All right. Let's go to another newcomer here. Third line center, brought in as a nice defensive option, Jason Dickinson.
Yeah, he's been 0.32 points per game over the past 3 seasons, 15 and 51 last year.
The analytics.
Yeah, well, like the one I don't understand like anything, but I do know how to make a spreadsheet. But what am I putting in the spreadsheet? Who knows? Let's say for Dickinson, third line. I think that once in a while you'll see JT Miller go down the third line center just to give teams a different look. That means Dickinson plays on one of the top 2 lines as a winger. I think he's going to get a chances. So I'm going to go higher than the lower guys, but not as high as I'll just stop stalling. Give me 35 for him.
35. That's a little higher than I expected. I was going to go 30.
Okay.
And I felt like that might be a little high. We got some lower ones. We got a 30 from Edmund, 25 from Coach Rob, 20 from John, 20.
That was a horrible pick. I just realized, but that's okay. I'm going to.
It might not be though. I mean, you look at his stats, right? 67. I mean, the most he's played in a season. He played 2 seasons at 67 and 65 games. That 65 games sounds like he didn't play a full season, but that was the season that got cut from COVID. So he had 21 and 22 points in those. So if you assume he plays the full season and maybe has, a bit of a extra good year, it's not too out of the realm of possibility.
Why did I say 35? I have 26 written down on my thing. No, we'll keep 35.
You can change it. I won't.
Right, give me 26.
26? Okay. You can have the number you want. That's good.
Thank you.
So I should have been higher in my list, but your third line winger, Niels Höglander.
Yeah.
I guess did I do Dickinson already?
You did. So I get to go first.
You get this one.
So this is so funny. On my spreadsheet, I put Höglander, Puckles, and the exact same number of points. I don't care who's playing second or third line. So 40 again.
You're going 40?
Yeah.
I'm going higher than that. Höglander had 27 points in 56 games last year, so about a 40-point pace.
Yeah.
But I do think, going from Pearson to Garland might be a nice little bump. I think he might get a little power play time as well. I'm going to go with 48 for Niels.
Love it. And a lot of people are agreeing with you. By the way, Noah's asking when's the deadline? I guess before the season starts. Right?
Deadline is 7 p.m. on October 13th. So literally puck drop before the game against the Oilers. However, there were 2 questions earlier about Pettersson and Hughes contract values. If you don't enter before that, you'll get 0 on those questions. So a bit of an edge to those of you who are here early. But there are some like 30 something questions. So missing out on 2 isn't going to ruin you, hopefully.
And I think it goes without saying, you can only enter once.
Yes. You do have to, you do have to associate your email to it. So you could enter twice, but we'll know most likely.
Clay email at Shaw, Clay email at Gmail.
Yeah. Get them all in. No, yeah. If you enter more than once, it's invalid and you won't win anything. So don't do that. There you go. Don't do that.
Nice.
A couple of other predictions on the Niels Höglander train. Noah with 48, Justin with 53, my boy Jared with 45, Gio going with the 43, Victor on the low end with a 30, Marcus going high end at 60. So a big range for Niels Höglander here.
Wow. I like how Gio puts in goals and assists too, not just
he's
not
specific.
Just points.
Maybe he's prepping his video, so he's already got all the numbers locked in. Let's go to the defensive side for a little bit here. Let's go to Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes had 41 points last year in 56 games, 3 goals, 38 assists, and he was something like a point a game through the first 15 games, if I remember correctly. What does he put up this year? I guess it's me, right?
Yeah, go for it.
So I'm going to say he plays every game because he did last year. So we'll just run with that. I don't think he puts up as many points this year, although now I'm thinking the offense is better. Maybe it's, an opportunity for more points. I'm going to go 63. I will go high.
I have 64.
64. All right. We'll be close on that one. Lego going 62 assists for 72 points, 70 from Marcus, a bunch of 60s, 66, 65, 50. Lots of good high numbers in here. People are thinking Quinn Hughes is a bit of a resurgence this year especially offensively.
Oh, we missed a golden opportunity. The question should have been, is he going to get more points or more money, right? 64 million, 64 points. Yeah.
Wow.
But,
that would have been good. Our numbers are pretty close to, aren't your numbers the same?
Yeah, pretty much. Oh yeah. Good point. I got to be a little more creative here.
Okay. The next one is Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
Oh yeah.
So Ekman-Larsson's history, 24 points in 46 games this last year. But when he was at his peak, which some people are saying he might go back to, he had seasons with 55 in 75,
Wow.
39 and 79. So he's always been in the 40 to 50 point range, except for these last couple of years. Where do you think Oliver Ekman-Larsson ends up?
I do think he's going to be the second leading scorer of defensemen. I don't think he's going to reach his peak, but I can see him doing what he did 3 seasons ago, 44 and 81. So I agree with Quacky. I'm going with, and Christopher, 45.
45. I'm going lower than that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going 38.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have a reason for it. I'm just, I don't know. I just feel like I'm just not that high on Ekman-Larsson. Oh, Lego also goes 38.
Oh,
so
great. I'm going to lose for sure now. Yeah.
He's right. Everyone else, you're all wrong. Edmund, you might be almost right at 30. We're going low. Obviously, I'd be ecstatic as long as his defensive game's okay. If he is putting up something like 50 points, that would be excellent. But I'm hedging my bets a little bit on OEL.
That's fair.
Another fun new face, Tucker Poolman. How many points does Tucker Poolman put up?
He got 1 point last year, right? In 39 games.
So here's some
That's
backstory. His 3 NHL seasons, 2017, 2018, he had 2 points in 24 games. Then he had 16 points in 57 games in 2019-20, the shortened season. And then last year, 1 point in 39 games. So we've seen him score at like a 22-point pace and at a 2-point pace. Where do you think Tucker Poolman lands?
I think you just read out my roller hockey stats, Parker. I think that, man, I was going to say 13, and then I see like Quacky and Marcus and Mulego give him from
all
4
single
to 6.
digits.
No, I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm saying 13 points.
13. Coach Rob's saying 30. I'm going to go with 9. I'm saying he does not break the double-digit barrier.
Oh, poor guy.
It's such a hard pick, right? Like going from a 20-something point pace to a 2-point pace is crazy. So hopefully he can have a bit of a bounce back next year. Our last point prediction that we're going to make, and this is the young gun Jack Rathbone. Now this one's a little tricky because there's a few. This is going to be one of the harder ones. Does he play a few NHL games? Does he play 80 NHL games? Does he, secure a spot in the lineup in training camp, or do they use him as a waiver exempt option to send back to Abbotsford to retain the rights to guys like Oli Uelevi? I guess I have to lead this one off, and I haven't thought it through yet. Jack Rathbone looked really good in his time last season. I kind of think he might be sent to Abbotsford because of that whole waiver exemption thing, unless Uelevi is so bad at training camp and preseason that they waive him anyways so that Rathbone can play. If the Canucks are trying to make the playoffs this year, it's in their best interest for Jack Rathbone to be in the lineup. So I'm going to say he plays 60 games and puts up 19 points will be my prediction for Jack Rathbone.
Not bad, not bad. I like that thinking. I have him playing 50 games, as I do think whether he starts in the big club or in Abbotsford, I think he's going to play more than he doesn't.
He's probably first call up, and he probably leaps over some guys in the press box too, if there's an injury.
And there's going to be, you're right, there's going to be injuries, there's going to be matchups, there's going to be just people clamoring for him. I have him at a higher points per game than you, Parker. So I'm going to say 22 points for Jack Rathbone.
22 in 50 is your thought.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. I like it. Just a few more questions here as we are kind of cutting it on time. So we are going to ask a few more questions. First one, this one's multiple choice. Who plays more games? Matthew Highmore or Zach McEwen?
Easy. You know what I'm going to say. Highmore.
You're going with Highmore?
I don't think Zach McEwen is a Travis Green guy. I just don't think so.
I'm kind of in the same boat, but I want to be contrarian.
Well, I don't have to do it because okay, just before you make your decision, Parker, just your decision to be contrarian may cost you the pool.
You're right. And I did say that Zach McEwen was awful last year. So I'm going to agree. Matthew Highmore is my instinctual choice. And everyone in the chat is kind of thinking
that was pretty funny
thing. There's a couple players that I didn't ask for point predictions for.
Yeah.
One of them is Olli Juolevi. How many games will Olli Juolevi play in the NHL this season?
Wait, this is one of our questions?
This is one of our questions.
Okay. How many games will Juolevi play? Oh, honestly, man, even if he makes the team on merit or Rathbone's waiver status, I think he's going to lose a spot pretty quick. So I have to go first, right? Okay.
Yep.
Juolevi, 26.
26. I'm going half that. I'm saying Juolevi plays 13 NHL games, and everyone else is a lot higher.
No, Justin, no, not preseason games, all regular season only.
Just regular season. Yeah, everyone will play preseason games. I'm going 13 because I don't think he's in the top 6. And maybe in case of injury, like Jared mentions, but I just don't see it. I see him getting leapfrogged. I see him, even if he's kept on the main roster just because he's waiver eligible. Yeah. Even if someone gets called up, I think, if like Rathbone gets called up in his place, I think Rathbone might be in line to play games instead. So,
you know what's really funny, Parker? Let's presume that Ekman Larsson and Hughes stay healthy, right? So there's only one spot for 82 games left. If I say Rathbone is going to play 50 of them, then I say Juolevi is going to play 20. What did I just say? 26?
32 ish. Oh, you said 26, but yeah, bro.
That leaves 6 games for Brad Hunt, basically, is my point.
Gotcha. Okay. Brad Hunt is not one of the questions.
Oh, okay, just make sure.
Then I do have one more NHL games played, and I think if I asked this a month and a half ago, the answer might be a little different, but I think this might be a boring question. How many NHL games does Danny Klimovich play this season? Remember, I made this poll a month ago.
0.
I think he has 9. He can play up to 9 on the roster and still maintain the contract, I believe. Is that right, or is it just 1 this year?
Oh, good question.
Because if he can play up to 9 games before going to the queue,
I still think it's 0. I think
there's
enough guys ahead of him.
I think it's 0, but if you guys want to make a crazy bet, this is your shot. So,
but then Will Lockwood got a game at the end of last year.
True. Yeah, it could be one of those things where at the end of the season, maybe, if things aren't going so well, might get a chance.
I better learn how to say his name before he plays.
All right, this one's a fun one. The master of the shift clock. We have seen on Sportsnet broadcasts the last couple of years, Tyler Myers getting stuck out there for a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes at a time. They bring down a little thing that says Myers shift has been X amount of time, and then the Canucks get scored on. Tyler Myers has been one of the highest played players in the Canucks roster. What will his average ice time be to the nearest minute per game?
Now, did you look up any stats for this one?
I haven't yet, but I can.
Should we, just so we have a ballpark?
We'll get his number just from last year. Okay. Because I had it up. I have the stats from last year up. Tyler Myers, average time on ice per game last year was 22 minutes.
And that was with Nate Schmidt on the team on his right side as well. So it was Schmidt, Myers, and Hamonic last year. Instead, it's Pullman, Myers, and Hamonic. He'll play short. He'll kill penalties, but likely Hughes and Ekman Larsson will play ahead of him. Even Rathbone on the power play. Mm-hmm. 22 minutes. That's about what I was gonna say. Does he go a bit more? No, I think Pullman. Oh gosh.
Yeah, my initial thought was a bit more. Because worse people potentially around him, like on the other lines. But then I was thinking, well, yeah, he's not going to get power play time, maybe. Yeah. So I'm going with 21.
Okay, I'll take the 22.
Okay. Sounds good.
I like that one.
Our last three questions are goaltender related.
Oh, good. I have some goal stats here. I'm excited.
Let's start off with Thatcher Demko. What will Thatcher Demko's save percentage be this season?
I'm such an idiot, Parker. So my spreadsheet, I round for all the goals, assists, and points.
The decimal points are rounded?
Yes, I rounded to no decimal points, right?
Oh, so it's 1 is what he had last year.
So for goals against, it's 3, and for save percentage, it's 1.
I'll give you the numbers. Last year, Thatcher Demko had a 915 in 35 games and a 2.85 goals against average, if that helps you.
Okay.
So a 915 last year.
I'm with Rome. I'm going to go 918.
918. That is very high end.
Yep.
I'm going to go smack dab same as last year. I think Demko will be a little better. I think the defense will be a little worse. Okay. I'm going to say 915 as well.
Sure.
Same question for the backup goaltender, Yaroslav Halak.
Now he needs to hit 915 to get his 1.5 million. No, part of his bonus. I know that. Not the whole. Some of the bonus is games played. Some of the bonus is hitting 915. Is he going to hit his 915?
For reference, last year he had a 905 in 19 games played, but a 2.53 goals against average.
But then I think the year before that he was really good.
Yeah, the year before that he was a 919.
Okay, I'm giving him. I'm optimistic, even though it's going to count against our cap the next season. Let's give him the 915.
You're going 915. I'm going 913, which I think is optimistic for a guy like Halak. Everyone in the chat, Lego's going 918
with less games. That's funny.
Less games. That's fine. Halak 914, 910. 903, 899 from Coach Rob. So lots of fluctuation here, lots of chance to make up points. The last question.
This is really fun, Parker. I just want to say that. Yeah.
It's gone good.
Yeah.
The last question. And guys, again, if you came in late, you can fill out the form in the description and go along with us. And you'll be entered to win a prize if you get the most points. The last question, goaltender related, Mikey DiPietro. How many NHL games does he appear in this season?
So not start, appear in.
Appear in. Games played. So if there's an injury and he comes in relief, if there's an injury in a back-to-back and he gets a game or two, how many games does DiPietro get?
3.
I'm going 4. I think again, it's only going to happen if there's a bad scenario. We have some high numbers. If we got like a 15 from Chris DeMarco, lots of guys going 3, 4, 6, 7 in there. I think it's just going to be if there's an injury and a back-to-back, then that's kind of or an injury and Halak gets shelled, let's say, and he has to come in. But I will go with 4.
I was at that game a few years ago in February in the snow when we played against, I think it was San Jose.
Yep. That went bad.
That was rough. Well, I think he didn't know he was going to play until that day, like a few hours. It was ridiculous. And I remember we couldn't even get the story straight with like what was wrong with Markstrom, or I think it was Markstrom and Miller were the two guys at the time.
Yeah.
No, that's right. Markstrom.
So I have submitted my response. There are 14 responses. Let's pick a fun question. Let's just look at point predictions here.
Sure.
And the total responses, the median response right now is 96 points, with 4 people guessing 96. A few people higher, most people a little on the lower side. Someone went in with 70. If you want some real optimism. That person who puts 70 points also says the Canucks will make the playoffs because all 14 people said they'll make the playoffs. So hedging their bets, perhaps.
Yeah, that's actually smart. I don't think that's a math error. I think they're going to get one or the other right.
Potentially. I'll see if there's any other interesting answers here. Yeah, I can see everyone's answers for points here, which is great. Of course, guys, there's 14 people entered so far. Go on, submit your entries. Maybe next week we'll take a look at
that's awesome.
Sort of a summary of what people have said. What is interesting, I like the Matthew Highmore, Zach McEwen debate.
Yeah.
8 people have gone Zach McEwen, 6 have gone Matthew Highmore.
What?
So there is a little peak.
Can you give me the Garland one? I'm interested in the Garland one.
which is total points.
Yeah.
Most people are in sort of the 50 to low 60s, high 50s, low 60s. Someone
What's the highest?
said 100. But the other highest was 67.
Okay. Yeah, I think I was a little bit optimistic with that guy. I'm just looking at my picks. And can you do Petey?
You want Pedersen's right now?
Yeah. Don't worry, I'm not gonna make you do all of them, but
Okay.
just
Man, the contract ones are fun. Someone put in 7.5 million, but they did the whole number, which looks really high. Everyone was in the 80s. A few 78s. Three people said 78. Quite a few in the low to mid to high 80s. A couple at 90, one at 93, and one at 50. Maybe thinking injury concerns.
This is pretty cool. Wow, this is great. I'm so impressed that 14 people filled it out already.
And it'll be fun to follow along throughout the year. So, if we, we'll check in on some of our points predictions throughout the year. I'll keep track on that spreadsheet as we go. Again, you guys have until a month from today, October 13th, to fill it out on your own. But if you fill it out after the Hughes and Pedersen contracts are signed, you will lose those points for those questions. So don't wait. Go get it done because they might be signed tomorrow.
Now tonight we won't have time to take your questions, but I think we had a lot of interaction as we did the prediction game. So thank you. But as we wrap up here and as we do our usual sign off, we never discussed what Parker and my wager is. So I'm not saying that we're going to take one of them, but if you have any ideas for what maybe our wager should be, should one person have to do this or should one person have to do that? Put it in the chat now. Again, there's no guarantee, but Parker and I will read these. And if there's one that sticks with us and we think it's creative, fun, and not physically or emotionally harming, we will probably consider it. So put that in the chat as well as we do our sign off.
Yep. Clay and I do chat for about 15 minutes after the show while I get the podcast side sorted out. So we'll read those as they come in. And thank you guys very much for listening, participating. You guys made this a lot more fun than it would have been if it was just us two talking.
Totally.
So yeah, make sure you go and put in those submissions. Lots of you guys were participating in the chat. Some of you on mobile might want to do it afterwards. It's at the top of the description. And if you're listening on the podcast side, it'll be linked in the notes for the show. So you can click on that or find it on Twitter or on the Canucks After Dark YouTube or wherever you find us. But anyways, Clay, any parting words for the night?
Yeah, no, this has been great, Parker. Thanks for organizing. And man, this is wonderful. It's the start of season 2. We've been doing this for 6 months now. This is show number 24, right? So exactly 6 months, basically.
Season 2, episode 1. Yes.
Wow. And really, there's only one more show before training camp starts. Would be a week from today is the 20th. And then the training camp starts on the 23rd. So I'm excited. I hope you are too. I think there's a lot of excitement in the chat today. So that's wonderful to see.
Yeah, we've got a fun season in store. A full 82 games for the first time in a few years. That is 82 nights of us probably doing some sort of video. That is going to be, another how long away is May? It's 6 months or so. So another 25, 26 Canucks After Dark episodes as the season goes on, and hopefully more into the playoffs if our predictions are correct. Anyways, it was a lot of fun, guys. Thank you for tagging along with us. Make sure to come back next week. We're here every Monday at 10 p.m. Pacific time. And if you missed any part of the show, you can rewind back to the beginning or find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. It's mostly those two. But you can find us there. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you give us a 5-star review on Apple, we'll read out your review live on the show. Anyways, that's it for us, and we will see you next week.